All right, now we can move on to Andrew Tate.
Oh, nah.
Andrew Tate, bro.
Yo, could you
Next
just
guy.
run through his credentials real quick on your Mac? Because he...
Yeah, what do you want to look up? Andrew Tate? Just Andrew
Because he actually is a high-value man,
He's a
quote
pimp.
unquote.
He's a pimp and a kickboxer, bro. I've seen his fights.
No, but not just any kickboxer,
A Romanian kickboxer?
bro.
What?
It's like a third-time world champion or something like that within his...
So it says right here, Emery Andrew Tate III is a British-American kickboxer, commentator, and businessman. As a kickboxer, Tate is a 3-time ISKA world champion and infusion champion. Born in Washington, D.C. and moving to England at 4 years old, he fought out of Luton, England until his retirement. He's 35 years old, born in Washington, D.C. and is 6'3". What do you got to say about him?
He has a very interesting take on so today I saw a video from him where he was saying like men biologically will try because we are hardwired to be conquerors and because we are hardwired to be dominant. As a man, you will try to fuck every single thing that you deem at least a little bit attractive within your vicinity.
I agree with that.
And
Yep.
Oh yeah, but then
agree
he
with that.
basically said it's like okay,
But not all men. We can't say all men. We can say
Gotta have some standards.
men that are straight.
okay,
I
but
think.
from his perspective, I'm assuming that he's talking about the rule, not the exceptions, right? So
What do you mean?
with that,
Like-
so what most people like, most men are basically hardwired to be like dominant, to be assertive, to be just to dominate in their fields. I'm just saying like that's from his perspective, that's what he would say.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
So with that in mind, he was like, yeah, so we should be allowed to have multiple partners and like do X, Y, and Z and da 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 da.
So which part do you agree with? Which part do you disagree with?
Do
Do you agree that men are hardwired to be dominant and to basically like?
So I agree with that, but then the conclusion that he draws from it is basically like, this is how we're hardwired, and that means this is how we should act. And he always talks about himself as being like a man of God or whatever, because like he's not necessarily like Christian. Actually, never mind. He is a Christian, and he identifies with Christian values, but he's not like full-fledged. And he's also had like a lot of like, he has respect for like Jewish values and like monotheistic values, like Islamic values and stuff like that. And he also makes a point to say, for example, that he says that
He's well read. He's well read.
He is well read. I will admit that. And he says like, oh, if you look at all the conquerors, all the sultans, all the kings, they've all always had multiple partners, right? But
Yes. Is that the part you disagree with?
so that is not historically the case a lot of the time. Now, but let's talk about and let's also talk about the biological argument, right, for a second. We're also biologically hardwired to. So he's basically talking about following his desires. Men are biologically wired to follow their desires, yes, but you also have to have discipline. And I saw a great video from Don. I don't know.
Discipline is a great word.
So there's a
Discipline.
YouTuber. His name is Don, but I forgot his full name. He's a black gentleman that has a Korean wife or whatever. He said that, okay, you're making the biological argument. That's fine, but go the whole way. If I had a bunch of sweets and junk food in front of me right now, my desire is that I would want to consume it and I would want to eat it, right? But does that mean that I'll go through and actually do it? No, right?
Okay.
Even though it's there. So does that mean that if you have the option to basically fuck Omen that you should? No.
No.
And in fact, a matter of fact is that is not actually beneficial to you as a king or as a sultan. And he brought up his own examples of how, Napoleon was one of the rulers that after he divorced his wife or after he got a mistress, that was when the decline of whatever, I forgot if it's France or Italy, whatever he was the king of, started, because he didn't really have that insight. He didn't even have that rib. And he also brought up the example of like Kevin
But
Hart.
Napoleon was a weak leader, though. He
Not
was strong. He was strong at first,
at
and he
first.
became weak, right?
But there was a correlation between
Yes.
when he started to have mistresses.
Yes.
And
Is that-
because he
is
started
that-
to concentrate more on women than on his actual goals?
Okay, and what I was gonna say is when he started to have mistresses, that when his downfall kind of commenced, or when he started to go on the decline.
Yes.
Okay, and then let's look at Genghis Khan, because I know Genghis Khan is notorious for like sleeping with a bunch of
Sure.
women. And like I've watched like the Marco Polo Netflix documentary. That's all I go on, so don't fucking judge me too hard there. But basically, like he was sleeping around, his wife knew or whatever, and that relationship worked beautifully, bro. And motherfucker was a ruler until inevitably you get taken down as a ruler. It just happens. If you're a ruler, if you're on top, somebody needs to take you down. If men are conquerors, that's the natural way things are gonna go about, right?
You bring up an interesting point, And I think that the point that these high value men are making is
Mm-hmm.
that, bro, if I'm a fucking billionaire and I'm a millionaire and I bring most of the value to the table in a relationship
Mm-hmm.
and you want me because I'm a top 1% man, which
Yes.
already implies that I'm top of the crop, then guess what? That means that you have to play by my rules. I don't have to play by yours. And if you don't want to play by my rules, I mean, you're free to do that, but just
Yeah.
know that you're not on my level. I'm taking you and making you a part of my world,
Mhm.
right? And
Okay.
that's kind of like, is that really an ethical way to look at a relationship? I don't think so. But then again, these people don't really
That's
want,
the way high value men approach a relationship.
Exactly. They
Okay,
don't really
yes.
want relationships though. And I think they don't make it clear to like the average Joe that it's like that's not how the average Joe is going to operate themselves. You know what I mean? Not every man is going to be a top 1% man. By definition, that isn't going to happen.
Okay, cool.
It's just that they're making the point that, and I think Kevin Samuels makes the same point as well, is that if you want like, the whole example with, it's like, when Kevin Samuels brings up the dress size and like the weight and all that stuff, it's like, it's not to put down women. It's to say like, yo, you
Look at yourself.
look at yourself, look at the market. Why would someone that is top 1% take you out of all the other options that they have on the table? And that's a fair argument to make. But the way that they do it is kind of like very rough. It's very condescending.
Yeah, it
doesn't-
is.
And it
It
doesn't,
is.
I'm not saying that
It gets views.
exactly. It doesn't
It's
have to-
engagement.
For the clips
and it
as well.
doesn't have to not be condescending. Sometimes you have to be condescending, but I think that they don't come out with the disclaimer that I think it would be important for them to come out with a disclaimer and say, hey guys, I'm not trying to have healthy relationships. I'm just trying to fuck as many bitches as possible. And if you want to be part of my world, well, guess what? I'm a top 1% man. I make X amount of money. I have everything that you want a man to have. So you have to sit down and shut the fuck up, or else go look for someone that you can actually build something productive with.
Would you
'Cause
guys
those
want?
aren't the people that you would look at if you want to have a productive relationship.
Would you guys want to be in that relationship though? Would you guys want to be in a relationship like that?
Fuck no,
No, you?
no.
No.